Chapter 31 Compass Compass, who stood balanced on her breast's edge, was only half as tall as Jack and the Christmas pig. Her glass was cracked, and instead of pointing north, as it should have done, her pointer was hanging slightly askew. Jack was so worried by what Poem had just whispered that instead of saying hello to her, he returned to the Christmas pig and said, "Poem said, once it's midnight up there, I'll never be able to leave the land of the lost." "Yeah, I've heard that rumor too," said Compass, before the Christmas pig could answer. "The loser thinks if he can stop you two being found before midnight, we'll get to keep you forever and ever." "I don't know why, because that's not how it usually works. Lost is lost and found is found. Don't matter when any of it happens." But Jack had an awful feeling he knew why the loser believed this, and he could tell by the expression on the Christmas pig's face that he did too. If Christmas Eve was the one night in the year a living boy could get into the land of the lost, might not it also be the only night when a boy could return to the land of the living? But as Jack couldn't say any of this out loud without revealing to Compass that he was human, he kept quiet. "What are your names then?" Compass asked, looking from one to the other. "I'm Christmas Pig," said the Christmas pig, "and this is Pajama Boy. He's an action figure." "With the power of sleep and dreams," said Jack. Sniffed Compass. "Well, you won't be getting much of either tonight. Sleeping's asking for trouble. Off we go then." And without further ado, she rolled off so fast that Jack and the Christmas pig had to jog to keep up, slipping and sliding over the snowy rubble of the waste. Jack's bare feet were soon very sore from running over the sharp, icy stones. "Now I've got to warn you, there's some very strange things out there on the waste," Compass called back to them. "Some of them are nearly as bad as the loser himself." "Really?" said Jack nervously. "Oh yeah. See, nobody cares these things have gone. In fact, some of them were lost on purpose, and I can't blame their owners. Some things really ain't worth keeping." She came to a sudden halt and turned to look at them, frowning. "Who's rattling?" "Oh, that's me," said the Christmas pig, who'd been clutching his stomach as usual, trying to stop his beans jumping around. "I've got beans in my stomach." "Well, keep them as quiet as possible, won't you?" "I'll try," said the Christmas pig, gripping his tummy even harder. They jogged off again. Compass's metal edge made so much rocket rolling over the flinty ground that Jack thought it a bit unfair to her to tell of the Christmas pig for his tummy beans. As though she'd read his mind, Compass called back to him, "It ain't ideal being made of brass, because the loser's got very sharp hearing, but to tell the truth, I quite enjoy the thrill of it when his show up. Don't worry though," she added, seeing Jack's frightened glance at the Christmas pig. "Nobody's ever been eaten while they're been with me. I love cheating the loser out of captures." "He hates me," you know. How were you lost, Compass? Panted the Christmas pig. Dropped by a backpacker, said Compass cheerfully. As a matter of fact, that was the second time he'd dropped me. The first time he'd cracked my glass and knocked my needle off its pivot, and I didn't work very well after that. So when he lost me again in a jungle, he didn't even bother looking for me. Now I'm rustling away at the foot of a banana tree, and I doubt I'll ever be found. Who'd want a broken compass? But you do know the way to the city of the mist, panted Jack. He already had a stitch in his side because he was running so fast. Oh yeah, don't worry about that, said Compass, eerily, although it might zigzag a bit to keep life interesting. Anyway, I've found new ways of guiding things since I've on the waist. Can you guess what they are? No, said the Christmas pig, who was hurrying along as fast as his lower trotters could carry him. I made up stories with morals and I invent mottos. Would you like to hear one of my mottos? Yes, please, panted Jack, because he could tell that was what Compass wanted him to say. Northwest is all very well, but only the wise go sideways, said Compass proudly. Jack didn't understand this at all, so he was glad when the Christmas pig said, very true. It is, isn't it? said Compass, sounding pleased. And I can tell you a story without moral if you'd like. Oh, yes, please, said the Christmas pig breathlessly. There were once 3 compasses, said Compass. A big one, a medium-sized one, and a tiny one. The big one led the way up a mountain, and the medium-sized one steered a boat across the sea, but the tiny one got dropped in a vegetable patch. And the moral of that is, never make friends with a radish. Jack and the Christmas pig both made interested and impressed noises, which seemed to please Compass, and they ran over snowy rock and loose stones, and the stitch in Jack's side hurt more than ever. They struggled on through the chilly darkness for what felt like hours. Every so often, Jaguar the Christmas pig would stumble, and the other would help him up again. Their sleep inside the lunchbox seemed a very long time ago, but Jack was too frightened to be tired. Every now and then, he'd see shapes looming up in the darkness and worry that they were the loser, or some of the strange things Compass had warned them about. But when they got closer, it was always clumps of thistles. Where's your blanket? said the Christmas pig, noticing Jack shivering in his pajamas. I left it in the bin by mistake, panted Jack. I'm fine. If only they could get safely across the waste without being eaten by the loser, they'd find DP. The thought of hugging Durpig's familiar squishy body and breathing in his friendly smell kept Jack running in spite of the cold and his sore feet. Then a horrible moan came echoing across the waste. Was that the loser? Gasped Jack in panic. Is he coming? Should we hide? No, said Compass, still bowling along. That's a pain. A what? Said Jack. A pain, repeated Compass. A human pain. Of course their owners are delighted to get rid of pains, so they end up there on the waste, roaming around in packs and howling. I feel quite sorry for them, really. It can't be much fun being a... Compass rolled to a sudden halt again. Two dark shapes had appeared ahead of them, blocking their path.